Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. How are you? How are you? Let me welcome you to Medzone African Motifs. I want us to look at economic and management science. So I want us to look at EMS grade 9. EMS grade 9, whereby we are going to look at the economy, whereby we are going to look at the economy. So we are going to do it together as to prepare for term one test. So this is economic system. So we're first going to start with short questions. We're going to start with short questions. So without wasting time, let's just attend to them. So as it says, complete the following table. So we have type of economic system, blend as well as market. So we have to complete that. As it says, who decides, and the blend, and the market, who produce, blend, market, how to produce, as well as for whom to produce. So here are our answers for those questions. So this, who decides? Government is the one that what decides under blend. So the government make all economic decisions. They make all economic decisions. While at least the market, that's when you're talking about individual and business. Meaning to say individual and business make what? Make decisions. So that is that. Then we come to the question which says what to produce. What to produce. So government makes all economic decisions. Government make all economic decisions. Meaning to say we are saying government decides what goods and services must be produced. For example, a government decides to produce more maize. You see, that's what we're talking about. But when it comes to a market now, when it comes to market, business use supply and demand and competition between them to decide. So it means to say business decides based on supply and demand. For example, if people want more phones, business produce phones. So that's what it means when you're talking about what to produce. So now let us attend to another question and answer it like how to produce. How to produce. As it says, government decides how to produce and services. Meaning to say, we are saying government decides how goods must be produced. It decides how goods must be produced. For example, government decides factories must use what? Certain machines. So you see, so coming to market now, as it says, business says how to produce goods and services. Meaning we are saying business can choose the cheapest and most efficient method. For example, using machines to reduce cost. So hope you're together. So now let us come to for whom to produce. For whom to produce? The government. So it means government decides who receive goods. Government decides who receive goods. For example, government distributes food equally. But when it comes to market, consumers. So consumers who can pay get the goods. Example, people who have money buy the products. Hope you're together, guys. Let us move on. Let us move on. So here we are to number 2, where we are still going to complete what? The table. As it says, complete the following table, where we have characteristics, planned economy, market economy, mixed economy. So this is what we are going to answer, where we're going to talk about the characteristics table, blend versus market versus mixed. So it means this is like this, where we are saying blend versus market versus mixed economy. Versus mixed economy. So that is that. This is what it is. So we are going to have government under planned market, more profit motive, under planned market economy, mixed economy, ownership factors of production, choice of occupation, allocation, and etc. So now let us just quickly give answers on those. So here we are on the answers on those questions. Here we are on characteristics, government control. So under that, we are saying central. So that is what central. We know planned economy. That is what we are saying. Government has a full control by government. We are talking about the full control by government. So that is that. But when it comes to market economy, we are having what? No control. We can say very little control. We can put it that way. Because here we are saying full control. We are saying full control. But under market, we can say very little control. Very little control. So that is that. But when it comes to market now, semi-control, meaning we are saying some control by government. Some control by government. So that is that. So now let us come to a profit motive. Let us come to profit motive. Under government, no profit. We know a government are not profit orientated. So profit not important. But when it comes to market economy, this is like they say, here's the driving force. So profit there, it means it's the main goal. Profit is the main goal when it comes to market economy. Under mixed economy, also, as it says, yes, driving force. It simply says profit important, but government regulates. So that is that. Here, yes, we are saying profit is there is important, but government regulates. We are saying profit important, but government regulates. But government regulates. So that is that. But under market, like we've said, the profit is the main goal. Here, profit is what? Is the main goal. So that is that. So now let us come to the ownership of factors of production. Ownership of factors of production. As you can see, it says people under planned economy. It says people are trained and educated according to the needs identified by government. Meaning to say, we are saying government owns land, factories, and etc. That's what they own. We are talking about what? Sorry. We are supposed to be. We are here. Sorry. Government owned by government. Sorry for being to a wrong characteristics. So we're supposed to say here and that the ownership is owned by government. Like I've said, it means that the government owns land, factories, and etc. But when it comes to market now, private individuals own resources. When you talk of the ownership, private businesses or private individuals own resource. Even under mixed economy, we are saying here, as it says private, but it's supposed to be both government and private own resource. Here, let's just make it clear. Both government, both government and private own resource. And private own resources. So that's that. So now coming to the choice of occupation. Choice of occupation. Like I've read this, like I read it by mistake, but we are on it on this characteristic now. We can talk about it. People are trained and educated according to the needs identified by government. Meaning to say, we are saying government decides jobs. Government is the one that decides what job. So that is that. But coming to market and the choice of occupation is that people can choose their field of study and level of education. Meaning to say, we are saying people choose their jobs. Here, people choose their jobs, but under a blend, government decides jobs. Here, the jobs are decided by government, but here, the jobs are chosen by people themselves. But coming to mixed economy, the characteristics of this choice of occupation under mixed economy is that people may usually choose their occupation, meaning to say mostly free choice but regulated. These ones I will always want to give clarity on it. Here we can say mostly free choice but regulated, because it's a mixed economy. It means the government intervenes. The government is going to intervene. So that is what we're saying. They have free choice, but still under the eye of the government. So now let's come to the allocation of resources. Allocation of resources. So as it says now, under allocation of resources, government decides what the production targets and are and allocates resources accordingly. So it means, in short, we are saying government decides where resources go. They are the ones who are going to decide where the resources are going to go. So that is that. But under market, consumers determine how resources are allocated. Here, consumers decide through demand. This is why they are saying they are the ones who determine how resources are allocated, because they are the ones who decide through demand. They decide through demand. Get that straight. But under mixed economy, government has the key industry for the whole economy, provincial incentives scheme. So here we are saying both government and market decides under the mixed economy. So now let us go to another characteristics. Here we are under the distribution of output. Distribution of output. As it says, government distributes not only capital goods but also consumer goods. So what you are trying to say, we are saying government distributes goods. So the government distributes goods. But under market, in marketplace where goods are exchanged for money. So under market, we are saying goods sold in market. We are talking about the goods that are sold in market. But coming to the mixed economy, market free to operate according to supply and demand. Government has certain license requirements. So you're saying market distributes, but government regulates. So that is that. Now let us move on to price economic growth. Price economic growth. So under price economic growth, it says under blend fixed set by government, determined by government. So we are on prices now, fixed by government. Prices are fixed by government. So that is that. But under a market now, competition checks price. Here we're saying competition check price, consumer. So meaning to say determined by supply and demand. This one is determined by supply and demand. So, but coming to the mixed economy, that is competition determine prices. Consumer and government plays what role? So there we are saying it's mainly market, but government may control some. So that is that. Now let us move on to privatization. So on privatization, under government, that is none. So under government is none. No private ownership, we know very well. But under market, privately owned. So it means fully private ownership. But under mixed economy, privately and publicly owned. So increased scope of market. So it means here we are saying both private and public ownership. So that is that, good people. So now we're coming to bureaucracy. So under bureaucracy, as it says, a blend, very important because of central planning as well as centralization. That is that under We always see, wherever we are saying high, we're talking about high, that is many government officials. That is that. But under market, it says not much because government officials do not play fundamental role. So that is under market, low bureaucracy. There is low bureaucracy. But under a mixed economy, we have very little. We have very little. So that is a moderate bureaucracy. So now let us move on to the interest. So interest, as we are on interest, so we are going to talk about underplanned society. It's about what? Society. So the interest is for society's benefit. That is why we are written society is for society's benefit. But under market, it says personal, individual. It talks of what personal, sorry. So it's personal, is for personal benefit. But under mixed economy, it's personal society. So it means it's both for society as well as individuals. So now coming to decisions now. Coming to decisions, as it says, a central government. So decisions are central government under planned economy. But under market economy, indivi, individuals decentralized. So here we're talking about decentralized, meaning we're talking about decisions are individuals. Individuals, government, that is under mixed economy, that is a shared decisions. So now we come to the private enterprise now. Private enterprise under planned economy. Government is responsible for production. So government is responsible for production. So government produces goods, but under market can produce, buy and sell as much as they like. So under market business free to operate. But under mixed economy, government provides certain services, others by private individuals. So some services by government, others private. So that is that. So now let us move on, good people. So let us move on. So here we are on to another question, which says, give the term for the following. Give the term for the following. So we are first going to start by the way in which country runs its economy. So the answers are there already. So we are to give the term for the following. So it says the way in which a country runs its economy, that is economic system. So a system that countries choose to allocate its resources and distribute its goods and resources also is what? Its economic system. That is that. The way the country chooses to allocate its resources and distribute them is economic system. An economic system which government make all the decisions about production, consumption of goods and services. That is where we can say this is a government. That is a planned economy, whereby government is the one that makes all the decisions. So that is that. An unplanned economy in which land, property, and business are owned by private people, not the government. You know, that is when you're talking about what? Market economy. This is what we exactly talked about. The government, as well as people, business, owns the land and natural resources. So you see, you're saying government as well as people. So once we are saying government and people, so and businesses, so it means you're talking about what? The mixed economy. That is that. The increased integration of the business and government across the world, increased integration of business and governments across the world now. So that is a globalization. Highly qualified people in developing economics to developed countries, that is a brain drain, where we're having what? Highly qualified people in a developing economies. Dump cheap surplus product in a developing countries, that is a dumping. So these are the one word terms that we were expected to to give or to answer. So now let us go to circular flow. Here we are on circular flow, and we are to answer the short questions. Study the passage and then answer the questions below. So here we have the passage which says Dolph Winters is a tourist from Netherlands who are on holiday in South Africa for how many? For 2 weeks. So Dan Smith and his family sold T-shirts with the South African flag to Dolph and other tourists along the beach under the name of the outrageous T-shirts. So they have a permit obtained from the Cape Alguas municipalities. So now we have to answer the questions by completing what? The table. So we're going to complete this table where we're going to give what? The households, business, government, foreign sector. So that is that. So here are our answers, where we are asking, who are the households? Dan Smith and his family. Dan Smith and his family. They are individuals earning income. They are individuals in income because you can see from our passage there that we have what? Dan Smith and his family. Dan Smith and his family. These are our households. So that is that. Now the other one is business now. Business, as you can see, it's outrageous t-shirts. Outrageous t-shirts. So these are what they sell. They sell goods. They sell these t-shirts. So you can see from there that these are the t-shirts that they're saying. They're saying, and sold t-shirts with South African flag to other tourists along under the name of outrage t-shirts. So that is that. Government now, as you can see, we're told that they have a permit. They have a permit that they obtained from Cape Alguas municipality. So that is a government that we're talking about. Like we see that is a Cape Alguas municipality. The foreign sector now is Dolph Winter and Netherlands. So this represent what? International trade. This represent what? International trade. Here it is. Dolph Winters is a tourist from Netherlands. So that is that. They represent international trade. Hope everything is clear. So now we are to attend to this again, number 2, where we are read the following statements carefully and then identify whether these countries have open or closed economy. So that's where we are now. So as 2.1, South Africa exports iron ore to China. South Africa exports iron ore to China. So that is an open economy. That is an open economy because they can be able to export, they can trade with China. So because it trades with another country, that is why we are saying it's an open economy because it trades with another country, with another country. So that's the reason why we're saying it's open economy. 2.2, Zimbabwe don't let foreigners buy shares in his companies. So they don't allow foreigners to buy shares in their country. So this is a closed economy. This is a closed economy. So we're talking about limited foreign participants. We're talking about limited foreign uh, participation. Participation. So that is that. So 2.3, Japan does not allow its citizens to work in another country. So that is closed economy again. Here we're talking about closed economy because we are saying Japan does not allow citizens to work abroad. So it's closed. No international labor movement. So no international labor movement. No international labor movement. So that is that. So now it further on says 2.4, South Africa lent 200 million to Senegal. So this is open economy because South Africa lends money to Senegal. So it's open economy, international financial um, interaction. So that is international financial interaction. So that is why it's what open economy. We're talking about international um, financial interaction. Financial interaction. So that is that. Russia does not allow citizens to work in other countries. So that is a closed economy as well as you're saying. Russia doesn't allow citizens abroad. It's a closed. No international labor exchange. No international labor exchange. So that is that. Then England have invested money in oil companies in Nigeria. So that is open economy. So it's an open economy. So it's open economy because that is international investment. International investment. That is international investment. So that is that. Because you're saying it's investing money in oil companies in Nigeria. So that is that. So now let us move on to other questions. So we are on 3, where it says provide different name for households. So if you don't say households, you can say consumers. Business, you can say producers. So that is how easy it is. So now let us move on to 4, where it says, what is the remuneration for the following factors of the production? So this is where we are now. So as it says 4.1, natural resources. So for natural resources, we can talk of land, whereby now we're going to get a payment that is a rent. We want the payment of the factors of production. Labor, you know their payment is wages or salaries. But capital, the payment or remuneration of capital is what? Interest. If you have invested money, you have started money, it means you need interest in return. Entrepreneurs, they start business for the in return to get what? Profit. So those are the remuneration that we are talking about. So let's quickly go to 5. As it says, study the passage and answer the questions that follow. So now let us go through the passage now. Let us go through the passage now. As is read as follows. John's family consists of himself, his father and mother, and 2 younger sisters. His mother is a teacher who works for the WCED, and his father works at Checkers. So he and his 2 sisters are both still at school. So their parents' income is spent on food, clothing, rent, transportation, and other expenses that arise. John's father also repair electrical appliances in his garage to work for extra income under the name of Electro Care. So now let us come to questions and answers. So here we are under questions and answers. Identify the following from the passage. The household. Who are the household? So from the passage, if you can go back to the passage, you can see the household is John and family that are living together. It's John's family. As you can see, John's family consists of himself, his father and mother, and 2 younger sisters. Those are our households. John's family live together and as well as making decisions. So that is that. So that is the household. Then we have to identify businesses. So businesses is what? Checkers. And this is where the father works. Or electrocare. Electrocare, you remember that he does or he repairs electrical appliances in his garage. So he also works at where? At Checkers. So that is that. So now government now. So as we're done with business, because business is Checkers and electro care sell goods or services. But with government now, um, we know we are talking about a WCED, is a provincial government. Is a provincial government. As you can see here, it is that he and his two, I'm talking of the mother. Mother is a teacher who works for the WCD. So that is the government. So now let us come to, why is John's father part of households and business? As you can see, the answer says as a part of the family households and his business, that is electro care business. So meaning to say, we are saying he works as a household and runs the business, that is producer now. So that is where John, why is John's father part of household? He's a part of household because he works. And also business is because now he is producing. Hope we are together on that. So now let us move to 5.3. 5.3 says, give two examples of goods and services from the text that John and his family need. So we have seen that they spent their money on food. It was said there on the passage, food and clothes. That is food and clothes. That is, what factor of production is owned by John's mother and father, and what do they receive as a compensation? Labor. They are working, both mother and father of John, because the other one is a teacher, while the other one is working at Checkers, and is also doing what? Repairing the electrical appliances. So their payment there is salary. So briefly explain the main function. Briefly explain the main function of household. So we know that households provide the factors of production. We know the household provide the factor of production. They provide labor and then as well as consumer goods. Business, business, we know very well that they manufacture goods and services. So business produce goods and services. That is in short what you're saying. So now let us move on to 6. Give two other names of the government. So that is that, two other names of a government. So a government can be a state, can be a public sector. Any relevant answer is fine. But instead of saying government, you can say state, you can say or public sector. Identify two companies owned by the state. So like they've given us SCOM, Telecom, SABC, and any other ones. So they are owned by the government. Provide two examples of goods and service provided by the government. Two examples of goods that like education, free education, health, also. Also, it says explain two functions of government. They make laws, they enact laws. They also collect what? Taxes. So that is that. In return, you know for sure with taxes, they're going to uh, provide services to the public, doing infrastructures, building roads and stuff. How do government finance services it provides? Through tax that it collects from business, it collects from individuals. So that is that. So now let us move on to 11 now. So let us be on 11. So here we are on level 8. It says, what levels of government are represented by the following? This is WCED. So WCD is Western Cape Education Department. It's a Western Cape Education Department. So that is a provincial government department that is responsible for education in the Western Cape province. So that is that. You remember the mother of John was working there. She was a teacher. So 1.12, the Otter Kloof municipality. The water, Kloof municipality, that is a local, that one. So that is a local government entity. So it is responsible for local services and administration in that area. So that is that. Now the Minister of Education, 1.13, that is national now. We're talking about what? National. So national government minister is responsible for education policies and oversight across the entire country. So that is that. So for sure that in South Africa, the government structure, we have national, we have provincial, we have local. So national, we are talking about ministers, like Minister of Education, that handles country wide policy. But provincial, like we're talking about departments like that one that we've talked about, CED, like we have said, WECD is Western Cape Education Department. So they implement national policies at the provincial level. Then you have local, twin of municipalities handling local services and governance. So hope you're together on that with people. So now let us come to 1.2. 1.2 says explain the role of the government as a producer and consumer in the economic cycle. So a government can be a producer and they can as well be consumers. They can produce, they can even buy from businesses, they can even buy from individuals. So that is that. Like the same producer, it provides goods and services to household and businesses. They do that. They can be a consumer because they buy factors of production from household. They can also buy goods and services from businesses. So they can serve as both producer and consumer. So that is that. Now we are to explain in our own words the concepts of imports and exports. So we know imports, those are the goods that we buy from another country. Those are the goods, maybe they are not produced in the country, then we are buying them from another country. Like they said, goods bought from foreign country. But exports, that's when we export to other country. What we produced in the country and then we sell it to another country. Like it says goods sold to another country. So that is that. So now let us move on go to 1.4. Then 1.4 say, who is the South African largest trading partner in terms of imports and exports? And then we're told that is China. It's China. We are saying is China. China is the largest trade partner with South Africa. 1.5 or 15 says study the passage and answer the questions that follow. Peter's father works at Pick n Pay. They buy the groceries at Pick n Pay at the end of month. So which role players in the cycles are represented by Peter's father and Pick n Pay? So we have Peter's father and then which role players in the cycle? So we have Peter's father as what is a household. We have Pick n Pay as a business. So he's a household who's working at a Pick n Pay, like he also buys from Pick n Pay. So Pick n Pay, we know very well, it's what? It's a business. So explain the flow of goods and services between the role players mentioned in the 15.1, the role players, which is Peter's father and Pick n Pay. Pick n Pay provides groceries. Peter and his family receive the groceries from Pick n Pay. So this is a customer to Pick n Pay. He's also an employee there because Peter's father works at Pick n Pay as well. So that is that. Which market forms part of the flow mentioned 5.12? So that is the market for goods and service. It's not a plant, it's not a mixed economy. It's what? It's a market for goods and services. So you know that the market economy is what? It has a full control without the intervention of the government. So that is that. Now we come to 1.15.4, which says, which factor of production is mentioned in the passage? Factor of production, that is labor, because we were told that Peter's father works at Pick n Pay. So it means he's a labor, he's an employee. 15.5, explain the flow of factor of production mentioned in 5.13 between role players in cycle. As it says, Peter's father provides his labor to Pick n Pay. Peter's father provide his labor to Pick n Pay. Which market forms part of that? That is a market factors of production. So that is that. So now let us come to 16. 16, it says complete the table, read the statements below through carefully and make cross by the right participants. So this is where we are now. This is where we are now. So here we are, we have a flow in the cycle where we have this, receive tax, pay company tax, receive wages, receive payment of goods, pay personal income tax, receive profit from sales of goods, pay rent, receive value added tax from sales of goods and salaries, pay teachers salaries, as well as received rent received on savings. So now we are to make what? A cross of the flow of cycle whether it falls under households, business, government. So that's what you're going to. So now let us attend to it. So let us attend to it. So here are our answers on that. Here are the crosses that we are asked to do. Like to say receive tax. Who receives tax? Government. Government receive tax. Government collects tax from household and businesses. We know very well that government collects tax from households and businesses. So that is that. So when it comes to say pay company tax, who pay company tax? So that is business. Business is the one that pays what? Company tax. So companies pay tax on profits to government. That is what we know. Now receive wages now. Receive wages. Who receive wages and salaries? Households. So that is why it's household. Households receive salaries and wages. Receive payments for goods and services. Receive payments for goods and services. So who receive payments and goods and services? That is a business. Business are the one who receive payments and goods for goods and services. So business receive money when they sell their products. Pay personal income tax. Pay personal income tax. That is households. Household pay personal income tax. So individuals pay tax on their salaries. That is that. Receive profit from sale of goods and services. Who receive the profits? Business. Business receive the profits. Business earn profit after selling goods. That is that. Pay rent. Who pay rent? We know very well that is the households. Households pay rent. Families pay rent for houses or land. That is that. Now coming to receive value added tax, VAT. Receive VAT from the sale of goods and services. So here government is the one who receive a value added tax from the sale of goods and services. So that is a government. That is government. We know that government collects VAT on goods sold. So that is that. Now we are paying teachers their salaries, like to say pay teachers salaries. Who pays the teachers salaries? That is government. Government. What is that? Government pays public workers. Government pays public workers. Rent received on savings. Rent received on savings, that is households. So the households earn interest on their savings. So that is that. So now let us move on, where we are to give one word term. We are to give one word term. So we are going to be on one word term. So let's attend to it. Give the term as a model that describes the movement of money, goods, and services, and factors of production in the economy between participants. That is a circular flow. Circular flow, that's the one that describes the movement of money, goods, and services, also the factors of the production. So you know very well that is circular flow. An economy that don't interact with other countries, with other economies or trade with them. That is a closed economy. That is a closed economy. That is economy that do not interact with other countries or that doesn't make a business with other countries. So they don't interact with other economies. So that is closed economy. An economy that interact with economies or trade with them. So when you trade, export, import from other countries, that is open economy. A market is the interaction between a buyer and seller. So the term is market. So a market for goods and services. So that is a product market. Market for factors of production. That is a factor market. Primary consumer of goods and services. Consumers, that is households. Owners of factors production, also the households. It is that. Uses the factors of production to produce goods and services to sell them on the product market. The business is the one that uses the factors of production to produce goods and services. Produce goods and service example, education, health, security service, the government. So once it talks about education, health, it's a state because you're talking about those public services that are provided by government. Imports from other countries and exports to other countries, that is a foreign sector. So that is that. Also, now we talk of what the flow of goods and services and factors of production. That is a real flow. And the flow of money, payments, and income, that is money flow. So this is the end of this presentation. Thank you very much for your time. Let's make use of this presentation just to prepare ourselves, just to make ourselves fit for tests that you're going to write in March. Even the final examination that we are going to write, these questions will be there. And then let us make sure that we are well prepared. Thank you very much for your time.